And now here's Today Tonight and inside WA's remote drug rehab, Monica.
It's a 100-hectare hideaway, Sam, where addicts are cut off from the rest of the world. Tonight, for the first time, our cameras are allowed inside, where residents have limited access to television, are allowed only one phone call a week and follow a strict program. Cassie Silver discovers for many it could be their saving grace.
Hello, my name is Drugs. I destroy homes, tear families apart, take your children, and that's just a start.
I live with the rich, I live with the poor, I live down the street and maybe next door. But you'll forget your morals and how you were raised. I'll be your conscience, I'll teach you my ways.
700 kilometres from Perth is a second chance.
Do I want to end up dying or do I want to change my life?
On 100 hectares of land, all walks of life coming together with one common thread: addiction.
The ice and the drugs and you're run by the devil, literally run by the devil. You know, it's a devil's drug.
For the next 12 months, Justin and 35 others on the same journey will call Teen Challenge Grace Academy in Esperance home.
What it's done to my family and me, I just never want to go back to it. Things that it robbed me from growing up, I was such a sporty type when I was a kid and very talented.
A happy, talented teenager from Perth's northern suburbs with big dreams and high hopes.
And I threw that all away because I started smoking. I couldn't even do things I wanted to.
What began with alcohol and smoking at 14 turned into a fully fledged ice addiction.
It just robbed me inside, robbed my, I lost all my, my family. I was lying to them, the dishonesty.
Now 22, this is Justin's last chance, a 12-month rehabilitation program like no other.
The highs that I had, it doesn't really matter. Of course, everyone loves the highs, I believe, and some people, I loved it, but it's just it's a life of misery, a life of pain.
We're not really allowed to watch much TV. We're not really allowed much outside influence at all, like in the way of newspapers or social media or anything like that. We're not allowed phones. We get one phone call per week to our families.
Rules not dissimilar to prison, where many of these people could have ended up.
Probably dead. It's a pretty scary thought, but probably dead. You know, I was leading that way, dead or in jail.
Lauren is 8 months into her treatment for ice addiction. For the 23-year-old, simple things like a bedtime curfew and morning alarm were a hard adjustment.
Coming from a lifestyle where you would stay up for days and then sleep for days, it was a bit of a wake-up call, but it was good.
From meals to classwork, it's a tightly run ship. Everyone has to chip in. Whether it's chopping wood or collecting eggs, gardening or cooking, it's run like a family farm.
You start doing that every day, you work on the property, so you're getting, I think it's a real good basis.
For so long I blamed people and situations in my life.
A mechanic by trade, 44-year-old addict Lockie is trying to stop generations of addiction.
So what I've done now, I've reversed it around to acknowledge that I've had 44 years with my brother, that I've had 25 years with my sister, and I've had 38 years with my mum. They've all died by their addictions.
For students looking for a bit of inspiration, they only need to wander down the property's entrance. Each of these trees represents successful graduates, living proof that when it comes to second chances, the sky is the limit.
And the day that my father handed me over to that program is a day that I'll never forget.
An addict, a thief and a liar. That's how Jade Lewis describes her younger self.
I was coming off the methadone program, I was addicted to heroin, I was smoking marijuana all day, every day, I was stealing to support my habit.
Looking at the mother of 3 today, it's hard to believe she was once in the fight of her life.
How far would have you gone to get a hit?
Stealing whatever you can.
Today Tonight first met Jade more than 10 years ago after she'd successfully completed the Teen Challenge program.
My name is Jade.
Jade admits it was tough. After 6 weeks, she was kicked out, but came back and stuck it out.
I was like, gosh, everyone's trying to control me. But then somebody pointed out to me is that we're not trying to control you. Your life is so out of control that when we put a timetable and we put some boundaries in place and you've got a schedule to follow.
Today, she's a mentor, motivational speaker and mum.
Considered in society the least, the lonely, the last, the unlovely, on drugs. Not many people know what to do with those people. I was one of them and somebody stopped to help me.
Jade is one of those young ladies who has found significance in life.
Pastor Malcolm Smith helped start the program in Esperance 30 years ago and says it's a bit like a private Sunday school, aiming to give addicts new values to live by.
You don't lie, you don't steal, you don't cheat, you don't run, you don't blame everybody else. You take personal responsibility, you develop character.
He says many students have no belief in themselves, and that's where faith comes in.
You brainwash them, you Bible bash them, and all that sort of thing is a Christian program. And we say, yes, that's exactly what we do.
Malcolm makes no apologies for the school having a Christian foundation, which he says works.
That's why we have an 86% success rate, is because we're changing their character so that they can be great members of society.
To get in, they'll need to give up all addictions, even cigarettes. With many staff being ex-addicts themselves, students don't feel judged.
You can say to them, look, I know what it feels like to be here on your first week. I know what it feels like to be away from your family.
Ex-students Ben and Natalie came to Teen Challenge 2 years ago and haven't left. They're now mentors using their stories as motivation.
You've been looked after, nursed back to health for the last year, and then you get the opportunity to help other people through it.
Ben was addicted to synthetic cannabis and prescription drugs for 15 years. For Natalie, it was cocaine.
Sometimes if you've got somebody that's fresh out of university and has never used a drug in their life, but they've got a lot of book knowledge and they're trying to teach these young guys, you know, they don't really want to listen to them because they think, oh, you don't know what I've been through.
It's not just about beating the addiction, it's also relearning how to live.
They just learn basic life principles, how to cook for themselves, how to clean up after themselves. You know, they do house jobs every morning and property jobs to keep the place tidy.
Along with housekeeping, study is also compulsory, including computing and preparing for the workforce.
They just focus on the healing and you start getting things like you need basics in life, like reading and writing.
On campus, relationships are off limits.
We like to just help them to deal with their personal problems. And if you've got two broken people coming together, it's generally never really a good thing, you know what I mean? So that's why that's there.
The largest youth drug centre in the state. It's a frightening reality that there's a 5-month waiting list.
We have people on our waiting list. The parents call up and say, you can take our son off. He hung himself, and they commit suicide.
Those addicted can come from anywhere. Rich kids, poor kids, educated or homeless. It's what they become that's extraordinary.
I've got solicitors who came out of Teen Challenge. I've got doctors who've come out of Teen Challenge. I've got nurses.
Laura wants to be a lawyer. Thanks to Teen Challenge, she believes she can.
I'd like to go to uni and study law because I've always wanted to be a lawyer. And now I have that hope and that optimism back.
Justin hopes he can stay on and mentor others.
I'm waking up and enjoying just having the opportunity to have 2 legs and 2 arms and live and walk and breathe.
With WA in the grip of an ice epidemic, many fear it'll only get worse. And Malcolm believes places like these are desperately needed.
We're about putting young people's lives back together again.
So far, 2,500 people have successfully completed the Teen Challenge program in Esperance. You'll find more information on our website.